Hey everyone! Today is a fun video. Okay, I know some of you guys are super curious about what is the dip? Okay, what is the dip? What is the dip? I want you to comment right now if you're joining me live or on the replay. Comment, what's the dip, Krystal? I've been burning, dying to know all day. What is the dip? That is what I'm going to be talking about today. I have my notes here, so if I'm like looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Puppy, he's digging on the couch. Puppy logic. Is digging on the couch and then circling and then laying down. Anyways, so today we're talking about the dip. And the reason that this topic came to fruition is because actually I was reading a book recently, and I read a lot, by the way. I read like a book every 2 or 3 days sometimes, maybe every week. Like if it's a bigger book, but I'm like a binge reader, so I read a lot. And I was reading this book recently. So there's this book written by, his name is Seth Godin, and the book is called The Dip. Surprise, surprise. The book is called The Dip, and it talks about in this book how when you, for example, start a new project. Now he's not a horse person, so he's not talking about specifically horse. I think he's talking about work projects or business projects, whatever kind of thing. But he talks about in this book how when you start a new project, things tend to start off very swimmingly, okay? Because you have this kind of excitement because it's something new, so you really throw yourself into it. And so you have this like rise in productivity because it's new, it's exciting, it's fresh, it's interesting. Every day you're like learning something new because you're starting this new journey, this new project. So you probably, when you're first starting out, experience a few wins, okay, a few small wins, and those wins also really like ignite you, get you really excited, and you're like, oh wow, I'm learning so much, and I'm getting some wins, and like your progress is like this, and you're skyrocketing, and you're like, yeah, I'm learning, and I'm doing well, and I'm on track. Okay, I'm on track. And a lot of us, when we get those wins early on in the beginning, it makes us really feel like we're exactly where we're meant to be, right? When you're first starting a new project and you get those wins, you're like, I'm here and then I go there. And it's kind of like we have this little ladder that we think of progression, so you're kind of like, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm kind of on track and I'm moving forward in the right direction. And that is when the dip happens. Okay, I want you guys to comment right now, dip happens. Comment if you're joining me live or on the replay. Okay, I want everyone scrolling in their Facebook feed to see like dip happens. Like what's dip happens? Okay, so then dip happens. Okay, the dip, by the way, I'm going to explain what it is. So, be on the edge of your seat. I'm going to explain what it is. But the dip, before I explain what it is, I want you to know the dip is inevitable. Okay, it is basically guaranteed. Okay, every person on the face of the earth is going to experience at some point or another the dip. Okay, this is not a unique thing. It doesn't happen just one off. Actually, the dip, it happens multiple times. Okay, it's not just a one-time thing. It happens multiple times, especially when it comes to sports, and horse riding. How many times do we think progression is kind of like a straight line. You're like, I'm here, and then I do, and then I'm there. That's not how we learn, okay? It's more like do, and then I go up, and then I'm down again, and then and then this is how we learn, okay? So the dip is inevitable, and it's basically guaranteed. So you're riding high on your initial wins, and so you keep putting the same amount of effort, and you're just kind of chugging along. Okay, you keep taking your regular lessons once or twice a week. You keep absorbing as much knowledge as you can, reading book after book, watching video after video, attending clinic after clinic, but nothing is happening. Okay, and by that, what I mean is nothing new is improving in your riding. So when you first started, you kind of got this big boost and you're like learning all this new stuff, and every day you're learning something new. But when the dip happens, it's almost like you stagnate. Okay, nothing happens. It doesn't matter how many books you read, even if you're like me and you're reading like a book every 2 or 3 days. Okay, nothing is happening. You're not improving. You don't seem to be getting any better, no matter how many clinics you attend or how much new knowledge you kind of input into your brain. And so at some point, it kind of feels like you have all of this knowledge in your head. So you're kind of like frustrated and kind of kicking yourself. Like, I don't understand. Like, I have all of the information here, Nothing that, this YouTube video is saying is new information. Nothing that video is saying is new information. I read all the books, I've seen all the videos. So why, if I already know the answers, am I not improving? Okay, who here kind of feels that way? I want to see you guys raising your little virtual hands in the comments. Who here has experienced the dip? Okay, so you feel like you already know the answers, but you're just not improving. So you think to yourself, oh, maybe I should just read some more books, or I'll just attend one more clinic. Maybe this clinic is from a different person. So maybe that person has this like golden gem that I didn't pick up in the other clinics that's magically going to cure all my problems. So you go to that clinic. Or maybe, you're like, oh, well, let's send my horse to a horse trainer because maybe the problem's my horse. So you send your horse to a horse trainer, right? So you can't figure out like how to fix the actual problem, especially because in the beginning, early on, you did experience some wins. So, you're kind of like, well, surely I'm going to figure this out, right? Surely I can figure this out on my own. At this point, that's when you buckle down, you push yourself. Okay, you push yourself harder. Maybe you start spending more money on different doodads and whatnots and gizmos like armbands. I don't know, arm weights and things. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff, okay? Pasoas to lend your horse in. You're like, oh, maybe my horse needs more fitness, or maybe you think the problem is your fitness. So you start booking extra time with personal trainers or going to the gym, taking Pilates classes 3 times a week, like whatever. Okay, so you start doing all these different things, trying to figure out what the solution is. How do you get out of this dip? Okay, how do you get out of the dip? But even with all that, okay, all that, there's still no big improvement. This is the dip, okay? This is what is known as the dip. It's when you were kind of skyrocketing at first, and then all of a sudden it's like, boop, and you stagnate, okay? And as I said earlier, it's basically guaranteed this is going to happen to you. If it hasn't already happened, it's going to happen. So the dip, by the way, this is the true test. This is where you find out what you're really made of. This is the point where the winners, they break away from the losers. Okay? When you've reached the dip, you have basically 2 options here. If you're already in the dip, okay, you have 2 options. I want you guys to comment, okay? 2 options right now. Comment. Come on, I want to see you guys. I see some of you guys are live watching, and I want to see comments. Okay? If you guys don't comment, then I might as well not be here. Okay? I want to see you guys commenting. So you have 2 options. Option A, you can give up. Yeah, you could give up. Call yourself good enough, like, oh, I'm a good enough rider. Okay, you can accept that you're always going to compete in the same training level dressage test every year. Okay, maybe you're going to dabble in a novice test once, but for the most part, you're just kind of accepting that that's the level that you are at. You've maxed out, and you're never going to go any higher than that. Okay, because your plan is basically, if you choose option A, give up, your plan is essentially stay the same. Okay? Because if you're in the dip and you give up, you will stay the same. Okay? Growth doesn't happen by you just keep copying and pasting, doing the same thing that you've been doing. So, option A, you can give up. Call yourself good enough. Okay? Those of you, by the way, who have given up or thought about giving up, you might just you've heard of some people like that. They were riding for many years, and then all of a sudden they give up horses. Okay, others, they might just be okay calling themselves like, oh, I'm a happy hacker. Okay, have you heard that before? They use that as kind of an excuse to justify not learning how to ride correctly, so they don't do things like take riding lessons, a lot of them. Like, oh, I'm just a happy hacker. I don't need to know how to be balanced for my horse. Okay. I have another great example of this, actually. And I'm looking at my notes here. I have it like way too jumbled together. I have too much stuff I want to share with you guys. I spoke to an endurance rider not that long ago. She was kind of interested in working with me, but to be honest, she wasn't like very serious. So, she definitely didn't qualify. But she was kind of explaining to me that for years, in fact, her entire life, and she's like 66 years old or something like that. And she was explaining to me, like, for her whole entire life, she felt and she knew she was unbalanced. And she knew that she was hanging on her horse's mouth. Okay, she knew she's hanging on her horse's face for balance, and she knows that she's doing it. She's aware, but she doesn't know how to stop doing it. So, she said also, like, she's an endurance rider, so she's got this Arabian mare. Arabians are very sensitive, mares especially so. So she's got this sensitive Arabian mare, always tossing its head, very distressed because this lady is hanging on the horse's face, always tossing its head and just very stressed. And this woman, instead of doing what I consider to be the best solution, which is learn how to ride. Learn how to ride, learn how to not hang on your horse's face and balance on the reins. Okay. She decided not to do that. And instead, her solution was, oh, I know. I'm going to buy a sheepskin noseband. Okay. And she kind of like checked that box, like, oh, problem solved. I don't have to learn how to not hang on my horse's face anymore because I bought my horse this sheepskin noseband. Okay, that is a really good example of someone who's experienced the dip. She's had this problem for years and years and years, hanging on the horse's face. She's aware she does it, but instead of actually trying to fix it, or maybe she's tried, but not very hard, or she didn't try my coaching program, because my coaching program would fix that in a week. Okay, she didn't try very hard, and then her solution was gadgets and gizmos and doodads. Okay, and by the way, it's not a solution. So that's a good example. You can see the frustration in my eyes. That is an example of someone who chooses option A, give up. Okay, so you guys are here. Okay, you're here in my group. I literally called it the ambitious equestrian. I'm going to assume that's not you. Okay, I want you to comment right now. That's not me. And I want to make sure you guys are not option A'ers. Okay, comment right now. That's not me. 2 options. Woohoo. Comment. I want to see you guys. That's not me. Okay, so what's option B? Let's talk about option B because that's the fun option. Okay, then there's option B. If you are in the dip, you have option A, give up, call yourself good enough, or option B, you press on. You keep going. You don't stop. Okay, now for some of you might take option A. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen it. I go to a horse stable, you can see lots of people who've given up, right? They're just floating around aimlessly in the arena, have no purpose, no goals. They call themselves heavy hackers or whatever it is. You've seen these people. Those are good examples of option A'ers. Okay. Option B'ers are the people who've experienced the dip and they press on. They power through it. They keep going. Okay. The thing about option A is it requires no effort. Okay, it's very easy to give up. It requires no effort. You don't have to learn anything new. You don't have to sweat, sweat equity, as they say. You don't have to put any sweat equity into learning. You don't have to try really hard to overcome, get out of this dip. It's the easier option. Okay, and that's why the majority of people, 95% of people, they take option A. Okay, the majority of people take option A because it requires no effort. It requires no effort. But that's not new, okay? You're in this group, okay? You're an option B'er. I want you guys to call yourselves out right now. I'm an option B'er. Okay, comment, option B'er. So for most of you, option A, like, it's not even an option. Okay, I mentioned option A and half of you, like, tuned out, like, quit. Okay, that was me, by the way. I was definitely, like, my whole life, I wouldn't know how to quit if you asked me to. Okay, I signed up for a long time ago. I was, I think, 22. Uncle Derby, it's 1,000 kilometers, horse race, blah, 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 5 semi-all-in horses. Took 10 days. And the year that I did it, it was so crazy. So 48 riders started and only 22 actually finished. And I was one of those, of course, I finished. But the thing is, I actually knew I was going to finish before I even started the Derby. I actually knew when I signed up I was going to finish. Like option A, quitting, like that wasn't an option for me. So there was never a scenario that would ever happen in my brain that would allow me to not finish. So of course I finished, right? But here's a story of another girl. Same year that I did it, I met this girl. I met her at the start line. She was a really nice, friendly girl, but she wasn't very experienced rider or anything like that. But she was an endurance rider. And I think, so on day 2 of the Derby, her stirrup leather breaks. Now, if you don't know about the Derby, it costs about $25,000 US at the time to enroll. Okay, you have $10,000. No, it was more than that because it's British pounds. So let's say $15,000 entry fee, plus you have to raise money for charity, plus you have to pay for all this stupid gear that you needed that was special that you had to have for the Derby. So you had to pay for the gear, the flights to Mongolia. Those weren't cheap. That was like $4,000 for that. So you had all these fees, 25,000 US dollars. That was in the end roughly what was being spent in order to attend. And $25,000. Can you imagine? $25,000 to race 10 days in Mongolia. Day 2, her stirrup leather breaks, and she quits. She quits. Day 2. Day 2 of the Derby. Months and months of training and preparing for this event, raising money for charity, telling all your friends and family. And day 2, her stirrup leather breaks and she quits. She takes option A. She hit the dip and she goes for option A, quit, because that was the easier option. Me, because I had a no quit mentality, if my stirrup leather had broken, I don't care what day. Okay? I would have begged, borrowed, and stealed it. Okay, I would have found a way. I probably wouldn't have stealed it, but I would have begged and borrowed. I would have asked a Mongolian. I would have traded him my chapstick for a stirrup leather. I would have, like, whatever it is, I would have found a way. Okay, if I couldn't find a stirrup leather, if I couldn't barter a Mongolian person for their stirrup leather, then I probably would have gone stirrupless. Okay, I would have figured out a way. $25,000? I would have found a way. So that's the difference. Okay, you can either take option A, quit, do the easy thing, or you can be an option B'er and you can press on. So for those who are option B'ers, quitting is not an option. Okay, quitting, it's never an option. So the dip is a test. Okay, when that rider, when her stirrup leather broke, that was her test. That was the universe saying, I'm going to make this not easy for you, and you have to decide right now. And I've had lots of moments like these in my career where the universe, like the clouds, kind of went directly over me and they were like, Krystal, you have to decide right now. I'm going to make your life really difficult because I want to make sure you're dedicated. You have fire in your eyes. You actually deserve all of the rewards that are waiting for you on the other side. And I had to make that decision. I was at that crossroads and I had to decide, do I keep going or do I say, meh, I don't need to work in India with horses, right? I'm not gonna lie, like, not every day was a good day. Yes, I got to travel around the world with horses. Not every day was a good day. I've seen some things. Okay, that horse race was not easy in Mongolia. I don't speak of it, like, with joy in my eyes because it was hard work. It was tough. I was, like, 16 hours a day in jumping seat. My thighs were on fire. Day 3, I literally thought I was gonna die because I was so exhausted. But I kept going. Yeah, I kept going. Even when I was in a hailstorm, I kept going. So here's the thing. If you've hit the dip is your test. Okay, that's the universe trying to see what you're made of, if you're worthy enough of the rewards that await you on the other side if you get out of the dip. Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes here. Some of it's really small. I don't know why I did that. By the way, I have I'm just checking my notes here. I want to make sure I'm not skipping anything. Okay, yes. So the problem with being an equestrian in the dip, by the way, is that during this period of being in the dip, you actually start to develop and pick up really bad habits. Okay, you start to pick up really bad habits because you've plateaued. You're stagnating. You kind of start deteriorating. Okay, have you guys felt that about yourself sometimes, where you feel like you're getting worse? Like you have all the knowledge and you've been riding for years and years, but for some reason you're like, I'm getting worse. I'm getting more bad habits that I didn't have when I was a kid. When we were kids, like, we could all ride, right? We were all amazing riders. But yeah, all of a sudden it's like, what the, like, I'm getting worse. Okay, because you're getting all these bad habits because you've plateaued. Okay, so you start picking up all of these bad habits, which aren't good for you. They're not good for your horse. They're not helping your horse. But because you're living in the dip, all you're doing is multiplying and enhancing these bad habits, and you're basically just accumulating new and new bad habits because you're stuck. Okay, you're not going anywhere. You're on this like treadmill of life. So my clients, by the way, who work with me, they've all experienced the dip. All of them. It's guaranteed. Everyone's going to have the dip. Okay, so they've all experienced the dip and they've all successfully come out of the other side of the dip. Okay, that's the key here. They've all come out of the other side of the dip because what I teach, I literally I specialize in this. I'm obsessed with a dip. I specialize in this. I specialize in getting riders out of the dip and being able to consistently progress and never really hit that plateau ever again. Or if you do, you hit it and then you're done. Yeah, you just keep going. This is your path. It's not this up, down, learn and then it fall. No, it's I'm learning every day, making every ride count. I'm progressing. I'm moving up every single time I sit in the saddle. I'm getting better. That's what I do with my clients. Okay. So, and by the way, if you want to watch any videos of my clients' testimonials, you can watch it in the Facebook group, or on our YouTube channel, or even on our website. Okay. We have a whole bunch of videos of my clients. You can hear it directly from the horse's mouth, basically. So go and hear their stories about the dips that they've all faced, because they've all had it and they all share their stories. It's pretty fascinating. And they've all overcome it, which is my favorite part. So go and watch those videos. So when you hit the dip, there's a couple of things that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is you need to decide. Okay, decide. And I want you guys to comment right now. And I see some of you guys commenting. Woohoo! Okay, you need to decide. Number one, you need to decide right now, are you going to take option A? Okay, are you going to quit? Or are you going to take option B and push through? Okay. Okay, if you don't make a decision, the universe is going to decide for you, and they're going to do the easy solution, which is quit. Okay, so if you're not pushing through, you're giving up. Okay, so decide. Make it an active decision. I'm going to push through this. Okay, I'm going to take option B. Not the easy path, but the best path. Okay, it's the best path with the best rewards, I promise you. So decide right now, option A or option B. If you choose option B, look, if you choose option A, honestly, this isn't the group for you. I'm not the person for you, because I don't know what to do if you give up on life. Okay. I don't know how to help you, because I can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. So option A, sorry, can't help you. Option Bers, you're my people. Option B, you're my people. Okay. Because you're ready. You will take the action. You just need the systems and the structure and the plan. But you're like, hey, I'm going to power through this. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to go through it, over it, around it, under it, but I'm going to find a way. Okay, so option B is, you're my people. Okay, if you choose option B, I want you guys, by the way, comment right now, option B. Okay, because I'm talking directly to you. I want you to listen very closely to the next set of instructions. Okay, very important. If you're an option B, very important. Because if this is you and you're in the dip right now, you have to listen very closely to what I'm about to tell you. Because I have a way for you to get out of the dip. Okay? I have a way. I have a way through the dip. I have a path forward. And I want you guys, if you're that person, you're like, what? Tell me more. Okay, I want you to comment right now. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Okay, I want you to be greedy. Be greedy. Comment gimme if you're listening. You cannot, this is very important, you cannot take the same path that you took, which got you to the dip, to get out of the dip. Let me say that again. You can't take the same path that you took to get to the dip to get out of the dip. Okay? You have to take a completely new path. Okay? So it has to be a path that you obviously haven't tried before. Because if you had tried it already, or you'd done it already, you'd be out of the dip already. Okay? So it has to be a completely new path, which you haven't tried before. And here's why. If you keep doing, keep getting what you've always got. Okay? This is like the law of physics. Okay? You can't argue with that. So this is what you need to do. One, you need to decide, are you an option A or an option B? Okay? And when you decide, I'm going to push through this, then number two, what you need to do is you need to do something different, what you haven't done before. Okay? So if watching YouTube videos is your go-to, that's not working for you. Okay? You need to do something different. You need to actually get on the phone call with me and say, hey, Krystal, let's work together. Okay? Whatever it is that you've been doing isn't working for you. So let's get you on a new path. Okay? Let's get you on a new path which actually works. So number three, you got to work with me. Plain and simple. 3 steps. Okay? Very easy. Say yes to Krystal. I've done this before. I have the proven systems, I have the proven methods, the proven training plans, the clients that can, like, shout from the mountaintops that they were in the dip and now they're not anymore. Okay? So, I've spent the past 18 years of my life inventing and perfecting this system. So, you can't get this system from anyone else. Okay? This is like my system, which I invented. I traveled to so many countries and I took a little here and there and blah, and I developed a curriculum which is proven and designed to get people out of the dip. Okay. So, and by the way, in my 18 years, I've never, ever, ever met a horse. Sorry, my phone. I've never met a horse or a rider that this method didn't work for. Never happened. Ever. And I've worked in a lot of countries with a lot of different clients. It's never happened. So, I've never met somebody that I couldn't fix. Okay. That I couldn't get unstuck, that I couldn't get out of the dip. Okay. The only people I can't help is if you're an optionaire and you're not willing to help yourself. I can't help those people. Because you can't, if you're not willing to help yourself, no one can help you. Okay, so you have to be an option B'er. You have to be willing to press through, put in the hard work, put in the sweat equity. Okay? But there is a path forward. By the way, putting in the hard work, it doesn't really mean a thing if your systems are wrong or you're focusing on the wrong things. Yeah? So that's why you need me as your coach, because I know exactly what it is to avoid. Okay, how to break those bad habits, how to keep you moving forward. There are no shortcuts in life. Okay, I really want to make that clear. It's going to be work. There are no shortcuts. I mean, the biggest shortcut is aligning yourself with a coach, but you still have to do the work. Okay, if I say do this exercise, that means you have to do that exercise. You can't just watch a video about that exercise and then call it good enough. Okay, you have to actually do the exercise. If I say do the exercise 3 times and then do this exercise, you have to do it 3 times and then do the next exercise. Okay, there's a process, there's a reason behind it. Okay, trust the process, trust the system. Yeah, it works. It works. Okay. So you either, and again, I'm looking at my notes. I don't know why I made it so small. I'm giving you the exact exercises and training plans and systems, but to be honest, none of it means anything if you're not willing to put in that work. So you either dedicate yourself to doing what needs to be done to overcome this dip and, learn the skill that you need to learn in order to do it, or you don't. Like, them's the two. Okay, it's your choice. Okay, so I want you guys to comment right now, like, it's my choice. Okay, because it is your choice. Yeah, you can choose. And by the way, I'm not like keeping secrets. It's not cheap to work with me. Okay, I'm not going for cheap. I'm not somebody that believes that cheaper is better. In my experience, cheaper is not better. So, I don't believe that cheaper is better, and I kind of live by that rule because a sheepskin noseband for that lady, she might be okay with that as a solution, but like for me, that's not a solution. Okay, like that sheepskin noseband is not a solution. Okay, I don't like gadgets and gizmos and doodads. Like, if you want to be cheap, I don't know. Like, I can't cope with that. So, yes, and this is the thing, horses don't know how expensive they are. Like, horses don't know that if they put their foot in a fence, that it costs $2,000 in vet bills. Like, it's not horses' fault that they cost money. It's not horses' fault that you're on a budget and, you have to be cheap with them, or their saddle not fitting correctly because you needed that money for rent. Like, horses don't know that. Okay, it's not horses' fault that they cost money, and it's not horses' fault that they're expensive. It's not their fault, and they don't know that they're expensive. They have no concept of money, not money, put my foot in a fence, 2,000 vet bills. They have no concept. Okay, so, for me, it's like horses know. Okay, they don't know that they're expensive, but they know that you're pulling on their face. You know what I mean? Like, they know that you're causing them discomfort. They know that their saddle feels weird on their back. They know that the last time you rode them, you're banging on their back because you couldn't sit the canter correctly. They know that when you go to jump, you can't see the distances, and so they have to kind of, like, try and help you out. Like, horses know, okay? So, here's the thing, like, yes, I charge 5 times more than anyone else. I do. But we charge more because we do more. Yeah, we do more for our clients than anyone else on this planet. And I'm the only one that's doing what we do and getting the kind of results that we get for people and for horses. And no, it's not by a sheepskin nose band. Okay, I can't talk about that anymore because it's gonna make me mad. Um, I'm not afraid to say, like, I'm the best at what I do. I've been doing this for 18 years. I didn't do this for 18 years to call myself second best. Okay, no, I'm like goal-oriented person. Like, I dedicated my life to this. I traveled to Iraq. I traveled to, like, a country that was during the Arab Spring, the Egyptian Revolution, for show jumping horses. Like, I didn't go through all of that to be the second best coach in the world. Okay, I went out to be the best, and that's like what I do. Okay, so I didn't go through all of that to be second best. And I realize it's getting a bit dark. I'm like, that helps. Um, no one else can get you out of the dip like I can, because that's my job. That's what I specialize in. That's what I've dedicated 18 years of my professional career learning how to do. Okay, and perfecting that curriculum and those training plans and that method. We also, it's me, our coaching program, we incorporate all 4 learning styles most people don't do. So, you have the auditory, which is you have to listen to it, which is our app, like our audio lessons. We have the kinesthetic, which is where you actually have to, like, physically do stuff in order to learn it. And then we have that, of course, because I give you the exercise and I say, do it on your horse. Yes, Coco. See, he's agreeing. We have the visual, so, like, video demonstrations, you making a video of yourself, sending it to me. I zoom in, like, draw diagrams, I can show it to you, so you can see exactly what you're doing. And then, of course, the reading and the writing, which is the last learning style. You know, we have the workbook exercises. We have exercises that you actually have to write it down on a piece of paper. I'm such a pen and paper kind of person, but you write it down on paper, and you have those checklists mapped out for you, and you can just go in and know exactly what you're doing for that day. So, we have all of that, and our methods are based, they're backed by biomechanics and, like, proven scientific methods, and the psychology of the horse and the psychology of the rider. And this is, 18 years of trial and error here that I'm talking about. It's not something very easy for someone else to try and duplicate or copy and paste if they don't know what they're looking for. So if you're in the dip and you took option B, you're an option B'er, here's what I want you to do. I want you to apply and see if you're a good fit to work with me. Okay. And I want you to comment right now, not a quitter. Okay. Not a quitter, if that sounds like you. If you comment not a quitter in the comment section below, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have someone in my team reach out to you personally, and let's jump on a quick discovery call. If you qualify to work with me, then I'm going to have you send me a video of you riding so I can actually take a look, and we can, like, deep dive into exactly what it is we need to do to get you out of this dip. So comment not a quitter below now, and if you do qualify to work with me, as I said, I will actually critique one of your videos, so it's worth its weight in gold here. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video today about the dip. I think it's such an important topic, and I look forward to seeing you guys in next week's live stream. That's all for me. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.